Rachael looked into the mirror and screamed, but the face looking back wasn't hers. It was a rotten skeleton wrapped in expensive lace with a golden thread tied to her heart. In the reflection, the pastor was grinning as he pulled that thread, literally sucking the life out of her body to fuel his mission. What makes it worse? It was Rachael's own mother who led her into this slaughterhouse. The pastor gave her a jar of black oil and one deadly rule. Now, her millions were turning into a death sentence. But to understand how a woman who once had nothing became a billionaire skeleton, we have to go back to when it all began. Just months ago, Rachael was drowning in failure when her mother, Mama Sarah, promised that a sharp seer could see her life like a movie and change her destiny. Rachael didn't want to go. But when your own mother tells you God has finally sent your helper, how can you say no? Rachael followed her blindly. They arrived at the sharp seer's tabernacle early in the morning, but the crowd was already thousands deep. Inside the church, the atmosphere was intense. The music was loud, almost overwhelming. Rachael sat beside her mother, trying to stay detached, but the energy in the room pressed against her. People were shouting prayers. It felt like something heavy was hanging in the air. Then suddenly, the music stopped. Rachael looked up. The pastor was standing on the altar, tall, calm, watching. His eyes moved slowly across the crowd, like he was searching for someone. Then he pointed directly at her. "You!" His voice cut through the silence. "The woman in the yellow dress." Rachael froze. Her heart slammed against her chest. "You are 35. The pastor continued, his voice steady. "You have lost 3 businesses this year." Rachael's breath caught. Her hands started to shake. "The man who promised to marry you left last month." Her knees gave way. She dropped to the floor. Tears rushed out of her eyes before she could stop them. "Am I lying?" he asked. "No," she whispered. "But how did you know, sir?" she asked. It was her first time in that church. She had told no one. Not even her closest friends knew everything. So, how did he know? The pastor didn't answer her question. Instead, he smiled, a slow, knowing smile. "Come to my office after service," he said. "Your destiny is about to change." The rest of the service passed like a blow. Rachael couldn't focus. Her mind kept replaying his words. It felt impossible, yet it was all true. Her skepticism was cracking. By the time the service ended, hope had quietly taken its place. The pastor's office was nothing like she expected. It was luxurious. The air smelled of something thick and sweet, expensive incense that clung to the walls. Gold-framed pictures hung neatly. Rachael sat stiffly, her palms pressed together. Mama Sarah sat beside her, smiling, already convinced. The pastor walked in slowly and took his seat. For a moment, he said nothing. He just looked at Rachael, studied her, like she was something he was trying to understand or measure. Then he looked forward. "Rachael," he said softly, "do you know why your life has been like this?" She swallowed. "No, sir." "Your destiny was stolen." The words landed heavily. "Stolen?" she repeated. He nodded. "From your village. There are forces that do not want you to rise. You were meant to be a billionaire." Rachel's eyes widened slightly. A billionaire? It sounded ridiculous. And yet, after everything she had lost, even the smallest promise of something better felt powerful. "I can swap it back," the pastor continued. Her heart skipped. "But," he added, "there it was, the condition. You must do one thing." Rachael leaned forward. "I'll do it," she said quickly. Mama Sarah nodded beside her. "She will do it, sir." The pastor reached into a drawer and brought out a small jar. It was black. He held it carefully. "This is not ordinary oil," he said. "It has been prepared spiritually." Rachael stared at it. Something about it made her uneasy, but she ignored the feeling. "What do I do with it?" she asked. "Every night," he said slowly, "at exactly midnight, you will rub this oil on your forehead." She nodded. "That is all?" she asked. He paused. Then his voice changed, slightly firmer. "Listen to me carefully." Rachel's body stiffened. "From the moment you start using this oil," he said, "you must never, ever look into a mirror." The room felt colder. "Never?" she asked. "Never." "Why?" "If you do," he said quietly, "the miracle will break." Silence filled the room. Rachael glanced at her mother. Mama Sarah nodded immediately. "She won't look, sir." Rachael hesitated. Something about it didn't sit right. The roof felt off, unnatural. But he had just revealed things no one else knew. Her age, her losses, her heartbreak. That alone was enough to silence her doubts. Maybe this was how it worked. She swallowed and nodded. "I'll do it," she said finally. The pastor smiled again, that same slow smile. "Good," he said. "Your life is about to change." That night, Rachael sat on her bed, the jar in her hand. It was almost midnight. Her heart was beating fast. She was scared, but also strangely excited. "Just do it," she whispered to herself. She opened the jar. A thick scent rose from it. She dipped her finger in and rubbed the oil onto her forehead. Cold, then suddenly warm. She closed her eyes. Nothing happened. No thunder, no voice, no sign. She almost laughed. What was she expecting? She muttered. She went to bed. 2 days later, everything changed. The call came in the morning. An uncle she barely knew had died. It was sudden, but that wasn't the shock. The shock was what came next. He had left everything to her. Land, money, properties. Rachael thought it was a mistake until the documents arrived. It was real, completely real. That same week, one of her old business ideas, something she had abandoned, suddenly found new investors. Within days, money started coming in. Fast, clean, unstoppable. Opportunities opened like doors that had been locked for years. People started calling her, respecting her, seeking her. Within 3 months, Rachel's life was unrecognizable. She bought a mansion. Cars lined up in her compound. Jewelry filled her drawers. Her wardrobe transformed completely. Mama Seba danced almost every day. "My daughter, my daughter," she would shout. "God has done it." Rachael smiled, but deep inside, something felt off. She ignored it. One evening, as she stood in a massive living room, her phone rang. "Nora?" she said, surprised. "Guess who is in town?" Nora's voice came through, excited. Rachael smiled genuinely for the first time in days. Nora had been her friend long before all this, before the money, before the struggles even. "You're serious?" Rachael asked. "I'm already here, and I'm coming to see you." "Come," Rachael said quickly. When Nora arrived, she couldn't hide her shock. "Rachael," she said slowly, looking around. "What is all this?" Rachael laughed lightly. "Life changed." "This is not changed. This is transformed." They both laughed, but Nora's eyes kept scanning the house. Something felt unusual. She couldn't place it yet. That night, Nora went into the guest room. She dropped her bag and walked around. Beautiful, clean, perfect. Then she paused. She frowned. No mirror? She checked the bathroom. Nothing. She walked back into the room. Still nothing. The next morning, she asked, "Rachael, where are your mirrors?" Rachael froze for a split second. Then she smiled. "Oh, the one I had broke yesterday." All of them? Nora asked, confused. Rachael laughed it off. I've just been busy. I'll replace them. Okay, Nora said slowly. But something didn't feel right. The next day came. No mirror. The day after, still nothing. Each time Nora asked, Rachael gave a new excuse. I forgot. I've been busy. I'll get it tomorrow. But tomorrow kept passing and the mirrors never came. On Nora's last day, Rachael had already left for work. Just drop the key under the mat when you leave, she had said. Nora stood in the living room, looking around one last time. Something about the house bothered her. She couldn't explain it. Then it clicked. No mirrors, not one. In a house this big, it didn't make sense. Nora shook her head. Maybe she's just weird now, she muttered. Then she smiled. Or maybe I should do something nice. She picked up her bag and left. At the store, she found a beautiful mirror. Elegant, well framed, perfect. She will love this, Nora said. Back at the house, she walked into Rachael's room and placed the mirror carefully inside, right where it would be seen immediately. She smiled. Surprise, she whispered. Then she dropped the key under the mat and left. That evening, Rachael returned home, tired but satisfied. Another deal closed, another step higher. She walked into her room and froze. The mirror stood there, silent, waiting. Her breath stopped. Her heart began to pound. No, she whispered. Her hands started shaking. The pastor's voice echoed in her mind. Never ever look into a mirror. Rachael stood frozen. The room felt smaller, tighter, like the air had been pulled out. The mirror stood directly in front of her, and inside it, she was not there. What stared back at her was a skeleton, not a clean white one. This one looked wrong, decayed, wrapped in the same expensive lace he had worn that morning. The same jewelry still hung in its neck. Rachael's lip trembled. No, no, no! She tried to step back, but her feet wouldn't move. Then she saw him, behind the skeleton, the pastor. He wasn't in the room, but he was clearly there in the mirror, standing close, smiling. That same slow, knowing smile. Her heart dropped. What is this? She whispered. Then she noticed it, a golden thread, thin, shining, tied directly to the skeleton's chest, to her heart. The pastor held the other end, and then he pulled. Rachael gasped. A sharp pain tore through her chest, like something was being dragged out of her. Her knees buckled. What are you doing? She screamed. The pastor didn't answer. He just pulled again, slowly, deliberately. Rachael felt weaker instantly. Her breath shortened. Her body felt lighter, but not in a good way. Empty, like something inside her was disappearing. No, stop, please stop. Another pull. Her vision blurred. Her hands shook uncontrollably. The skeleton in the mirror looked worse, more hollow, and somehow she knew. That was her. That was what she had become. Every pull of that thread was draining her life, feeding something else or someone else. Rachael screamed, a loud, piercing scream that echoed through the house. She stumbled backward, knocking over a chair. Her body couldn't hold itself anymore. Her mind snapped, and then everything broke. Within minutes, Rachael lost control completely. She began to scream and laugh at the same time. Her hands grabbed anything within reach, vases, cushions, tables, and threw them across the room. Glass shattered, furniture overturned. Her once perfect home turned into chaos in seconds. She ran from room to room like something was chasing her, or like she was trying to escape something inside her own head. Leave me alone! There is something in the mirror! But there was no one there to hear her, only silence and destruction. By midnight, the house was quiet again. The door creaked open slowly. Rachael stepped out, barefoot, her hair scattered, her expensive clothes now torn. and stained, her eyes empty. She walked into the night without locking the door, without taking anything, without even knowing where she was going. She laughed softly as she moved down the street. Then suddenly, she stopped and whispered to herself, "He's pulling it! He's pulling it!" Then she laughed again. A hollow, broken sound. By morning, people had started to notice her. She wandered aimlessly along the roadside, talking to herself, laughing, sometimes screaming. Cars slowed down as they passed her. Some people shook their heads. Another warned. Someone muttered. Others laughed. Just a few people looked at her differently, with pity, because beneath the madness, there was something else, something tragic, something that didn't belong. 2 days later, a woman stopped in her tracks. She stared at Rachael closely. Then her eyes widened. "This looks like... No, it can't be." She quickly pulled out her phone and took a picture. Within minutes, she sent it to Mama Sarah. Mama Sarah's phone buzzed. She picked it up casually. Then she froze. Her heart skipped. "No!" Her hands began to shake. The picture dropped from her fingers. "That's my daughter!" Within an hour, Mama Sarah arrived at the location with 2 young men. She didn't even wait for the car to stop properly. She jumped out and ran towards Rachael. "Rachael!" she cried. Rachael looked up, but there was no recognition in her eyes. She just laughed. "Ha! Mama, he's pulling it," she whispered. Mama Sarah broke down instantly. "Who is pulling it? What are you saying?" But Rachael had already turned away, lost again in her own world. The man carefully held her and led her into the car. She struggled, kicked, screamed, but eventually she went quiet. They drove straight to the pastor, the same place, the same man, the same hope. Mama Sarah rushed into his office, tears streaming down her face. "Sir, please, help my daughter," she cried. "She has lost her mind." The pastor looked at Rachael calmly. Then he shook his head. "There is nothing I can do." The words hit like a slap. "What do you mean nothing?" Mama Sarah cried. "You said you could help her. You gave her the oil." The pastor sighed. If she had been brought immediately it happened, it would have been different. Mama Sarah dropped to her knees. "Please, sir, please, pastor. She's my only child." But the pastor didn't move, didn't soften. "Her case is gone," he said flatly. "I cannot interfere anymore." Mama Sarah wept, begged, held his feet, but nothing changed. The door that had once opened to hope was now completely shut. Rachael was taken home, but she was no longer the same person. She became violent, unpredictable, dangerous. They locked her in a room. It was the only way to keep her from hurting herself or others. To feed her, they passed food through the window. Sometimes she ate, sometimes she threw it back. Sometimes she just stared at nothing for hours, laughing quietly. Mama Sarah stopped sleeping, stopped eating properly. Every day she cried. Every night she prayed. She went from one church to another, from one prayer house to the next, seeking help, looking for answers, but nothing worked. Nothing changed. Her daughter remained trapped, lost, broken. 1 year passed, a full year, and still nothing, until one day she met another pastor, not loud, just calm, steady. He listened as she told the entire story, every detail, every pain, every mistake. When she finished, he sat quietly for a moment. Then he spoke. "That man did not change your daughter's destiny." Mama Sarah looked up. "What do you mean, sir?" "He destroyed it for his own gain," the pastor said. Silence fell, heavy, painful. Mama Sarah's heart sank. "So, what do I do now?" she asked weakly. The pastor leaned forward. "You will pray." "I have been praying," she cried. "Not like this," he said calmly. He gave her clear instructions. 7 days of fasting, midnight prayers, specific prayer points. "I will pray with you," Mama Sarah nodded. Thank you, sir. This time, something felt different, not easier, but real. Day 1, nothing. Rachael remained locked in the room, still violent, still lost. Day 2, nothing. Day 3, nothing. By day 4, Mama Sarah's strength was fading, but the pastor encouraged her. Do not stop. Day 5, nothing. Day 6, still nothing. By the 7th day, her voice was weak, her body tired, but she kept praying. At midnight, she was on the phone with the pastor, both of them praying fervently, desperately. Then, a loud bang from Rachel's room. Mama Sarah froze. Another bang. Then screaming, Mommy! Her heart jumped. That's her! She cried. She ran towards the room. Rachael was banging on the door from inside, screaming, Jesus! 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 Mama Sarah panicked. What is happening? Do not be afraid, the pastor said firmly over the phone. She is being delivered. Mama Sarah stood there, shaking, tears streaming down her face. They kept praying louder, stronger, until suddenly, silence. Mama Sarah opened the door slowly. Rachael lay on the floor, still, not moving. Her heart dropped. Rachael, she whispered. No response. She rushed forward and knelt beside her. Her hands trembled as she checked her breath. Then, a soft exhale. Mama Sarah broke down in relief. She's breathing. Morning came. Rachael was still asleep on the floor. Mama Sarah didn't leave her side. Every few minutes, she checked her, prayed over her, waited. Hours passed, nothing. By afternoon, fear started creeping in again. Please wake up, she whispered. Then, at exactly 3 p.m., Rachael moved. Her eyes opened slowly. She looked around, confused, weak. Mommy, she said. Mama Sarah froze. Rachael? Why am I here? She asked softly. Tears poured down Mama Sarah's face. She pulled her into a tight embrace. You are back, she whispered. You are back. Thank God. Immediately, she called the pastor. It worked, she cried. She's okay now. Thank you, pastor. The pastor smiled calmly on the other end. Give thanks to God, he said. Just like that, Rachael was restored. Her mind was clear, her voice steady, her life back. 3 months later, news began to spread. The sharp seer, the same man, the same pastor, had fallen sick, strangely, suddenly. He couldn't stand, couldn't move, couldn't speak. The man who once controlled others was now completely helpless. People whispered, some feared, some understood, but one thing was clear. Something had torn, and somewhere deep down, the thread had been cut. And here is the moral lesson. Desperation can make a person ignore warning signs they would normally question. Rachael didn't pause to examine what she was told. She followed instructions that felt wrong because she was tired of failing. That choice opened the door to something harmful. Quick success that comes with strange conditions is rarely safe. Real progress may be slower, but it doesn't require secrecy, fear, or losing yourself in the process. Good intentions are not enough. Mama Sarah wanted help for her daughter, but she trusted too quickly without understanding what she was getting into. Care must be paired with wisdom. And finally, no situation is beyond recovery, even after everything went wrong. Persistence in prayer and truth brought Rachael back. So, when life is hard, don't rush into any solution that promises instant change. Test it, question it, and protect your peace, because not every open door leads somewhere good. I hope you enjoyed this story. If you want to see more stories of lights overcoming darkness, watch this next video. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.